using Tap Transfer Artist Paper to create beautiful quilts and eye-catching arts and crafts starts with a great photo. Let me show you how easy it is to edit and perfect your photos so you can put your best photo forward. So let me show you how easy it is to edit your photos using any handheld digital device. Okay, I'm using my iPhone today. I'm going to go to my photos and pull up one of the old photos that I have in my collection. I could scan this into my computer, but what I've been doing lately, because my phone is so much better than my scanner, is take a photograph. I take a photograph of the old photo and then I have it on my phone so it's easy for me to access and edit. Most people have never noticed the little word edit in the upper right hand corner of their device. You click on that and you have several options. Without any instructions, you might not know what any of them mean. There must be a handbook somewhere, but I haven't found one yet, and I've learned most of this by playing around. So you can click on the magic wand and the device will automatically decide what it thinks looks best. It's not always what I like or the look I'm going for. In this case, I want to lighten it, I want to whiten the sepia tones, and maybe pump up the contrast a little bit. So I'm going to back out of that. I'll just hit it again and it'll go back to what I originally have a photo of, and it's actually brighter in that original. But now I'm going to go down to the bottom where there's the cropping function. It's like a crop sign. You just click on that, and first of all I want to get rid of this border here on the left and right. I've got a nice black frame on it that I do want to transfer. If I didn't want to transfer the black frame, then I would drag these corners in further and get rid of that black frame so that all I have is the sepia image. If I don't like that, I can cancel that function, discard the changes. All right. So I'm back to where I started, and just go to the black lines here. Now it's cropped to the black frame, and I'm going to go to this little circle with dots around it. It looks kind of like a clock. When I tap on that, I get three options here: light, color, and black and white. Now you might say this is a black and white image, I'm going to choose that. But no, I'm going to treat all images as if they're color images. So at the light arrow, drop down arrow, I'll click on that. And then I have several choices here. Now the best way to learn how to use these or what they mean is to play around with them. Brilliance is just going to do what it says. It's going to make the whole thing look a little more brilliant. Exposure means if it's a dark exposure, you didn't have enough light when you took it, then you can add, increase the exposure, make it brighter. You can work with the highlights, make the shadows deeper, make the overall image brighter, work with the contrast, and my favorite is black point. It makes the blackers black and makes everything look richer. So I'll often start with the black point, because sometimes, especially in images you might take with your iPhone, that's going to make a lot of difference. So it's a sliding scale. You can see what it does by going back and forth. See the contrast in her face comes up if I take the black point almost to the far edge. So I've got some good tones, good color in her face, but there's more that I could do at this point. I'm not going to stop now. So I'll go back to those three lines and I'm going to see what changing the exposure does. Alright, see how much whiter it got? So that looks good. But now I've lost a little bit of that contrast, so I'll go back to these three lines here. Go to contrast. You can see what that does. If I push it too far, I lose her dress. Her face looks very good, but then I'm losing some of the dress. So somewhere in there is a sweet spot. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. I don't want any brilliance. The color's good. Let's just take a look at shadows. Shadows helps because I can pick up more of the dress now. So I'm going to go with a little bit adjustment on the shadows. And I could say I'm done. That's good enough for me to print. One thing you want to remember though, when you're transferring an image to fabric or some other surfaces, it's going to dull the color a little bit, because when inks go into fabric, that just kind of takes away their brilliance a little bit. So let's go back to Brilliance and see if that pops it up. It works better in color images, or works more to your advantage in color images. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of Brilliance. And now again, I could say I'm done. But wait, there's more. Look at these 3 circles down here. If you click on those, it'll give you another set of options. You don't have to understand what they all mean, but you can just tap on each one and see what it does, and see if you get a better result than what you just did. Now I always end with this because it won't work to your advantage unless you've done some editing to the original image in the first place. But once you've got the original edited image, then you can see if one of these filters is going to make an even better picture. The majority of them work with it as a color image, but then the last 3 turn it into just a black and white. So you can go through those. And remember, there's no right or wrong for this. It's what appeals to you. It's your eye, and you want to train your eye to understand, or at least know what you're looking for. Sometimes you say, well, I don't know if it looks good or not. Well, do you like it? Do you think it looks good? Because if it looks good to you, chances are it will look good to everyone else. So here's the original, what I did with the other editing functions. And that washes it out. Let's go over here to the black and white. This is really beautiful up here. This last one called Noir. There's a really nice contrast. I might want to use that for a specific project. Say I wanted to, it kind of looks like a charcoal or pencil drawing, so that might be a nice effect. But I still think if I just want to print it as a vintage photo and keep that vintage look to it, then I'm going to stick with, what am I going to stick with? There are a lot of options, and like I said, there's no right, there's no wrong. What do? I'll hit done. Now I'm ready to put it into a Word document. I'll probably email it to myself or transfer it to my computer at some point so that I can put it into a Word document, and then from there I'll print that onto the Tap Transfer Artist paper. Now let's look at a color photo. All right, here's a photo I just took this summer. Or should I date? No dates. Here's a recent photo I took when we were having our family vacation at the beach. It was capturing a wonderful moment with all my granddaughters sitting in a circle on the lawn before dinner. So what's important in this photo? Is it the beautiful expansive lawn? Is it the white fence around the pool? I mean, this is a great photo, but what do I really want to draw people's attention to, or what do I want to preserve out of this photo? Do I need all this extra information? And the answer is no. So I'm going to go up to Edit, and I will use the crop tool, and I can just slide it down and take the rest of the background out. I could zero in on the girls. I could get even tighter. I can, once I've got my crop marks, I can move the image around. But what is nice about this is that, let's say you know you want a proportionate photo, you want a 5x7, or you want to print it square. So over here there's a little stack of squares, and if you hit this, you'll get these options, the ratios. So if you want a 5x7 photo, you choose the 7:5 ratio or the square. So if that's a 5x7, I know that that will print out and fit a nice frame or whatever your final intent is, but it's a traditional size. But I can take it and adjust this so that they pretty much fill the frame. And that way you get more detail. You can see the one granddaughter instructing everybody, and I wish I knew what they were talking about. So this is, I think the color in this is good. It's very saturated. All the colors are very rich. So I just want to take a look at it and see what would happen if I did take the exposure up a little bit. See how that takes the shadows off of their faces somewhat? At least, and I'm looking at this one granddaughter with the braids. And that's the original, the shadow on her face. This gets rid of some of that shadow, but it doesn't look freakish like this if I took it all the way out. So, again, to find the sweet spot, and again, this is my preference, okay? You might like the way it looks, using different tools. But I'm going to go with that. It just pops it up enough to give what I think will be a better transfer, because I'm taking it off of a backlit screen, which is adding light, and printing it out and then putting it on another surface. So got to remember that what you're seeing on your device screen is always going to look much more bright and brilliant because it's backlit. It's got that light behind it. But practice, that's something, again, the more things you print out and work with, the more you'll understand that you need to increase your light to get the look you're going for. So let's just check over here and see if the standard filters that come with your phone, nothing is popping out at me except this one called Vivid, and that just makes everything pop more. But is that too, not psychedelic, but is that too bold? Is that too vivid? Do I want to go with the natural look or the vivid look? I think because they're young, it's summertime, the colors they're wearing are nice and bright, that I'm going to emphasize that vivid. Okay? So I'm done with this. I'll hit done, and now I'm ready to send it to my printer and print it on Tap Transfer Artist paper. You'll find in-depth directions on transferring Tap Transfer Artist paper on the insert of the package when you buy your tap. Thank you so much.